Welcome to Illuminati Silver. We tell you the truth about silver. Today is Thursday, the 25th of February, 2021. And we're focusing on the plans the Fed has to potentially introduce a digital dollar. So let's take a look. The past 2 days, Fed Chair Jerome Powell has given testimony to Congress, broadly reaffirming the Fed and FOMC stance on accommodative monetary policy for some time to come. He said that the US economy still had a long way to go to reach maximum employment and the Fed's inflation target, a signal he wants to remain accommodative. Now, we've produced 2 videos on this subject in the past 2 days, and we provide links below. They're entitled Equities and Silver Rise as Dovish Fed Policy Reaffirmed, and Jerome Powell More of the Same, but a surprise digital currency comment. So what has actually come out of the testimony, and that we're focusing on today, is that the Fed is admitting that it is looking at the prospect of a digital currency. In Tuesday's testimony, Powell stated, quote, "A digital currency developed by the Fed is a high priority project for us," adding that there are significant technical and policy questions related to a digital US dollar. "We are committed to solving the technology problems and consulting very broadly with the public and very transparently with all interested constituencies as to whether we should do this," unquote. So he admitted that the bank planned to spend this year doing extensive research and public outreach about the idea of a digital dollar, describing it as a high priority project. But he added that the bank was also wary of doing anything that might have unintended negative consequences for the existing system. He said, quote, "We have a responsibility to do this right. We don't have to be the first," unquote. Now we'll add in there, of course, China is already looking at this. It's no accident this announcement is made at a time when Bitcoin prices are reaching regular new highs and other cryptos are following suit, with institutional demand taking up Bitcoin and some financial advisors now making portfolio recommendations which also include the cryptocurrency or a basket of cryptocurrencies. The Fed has to act, or at least declare, what it has been doing behind the scenes really for some time. A few years ago, we published a number of videos stating that a digital currency or cashless society would be a reality in the United States and perhaps other financially advanced economies, but that would more likely happen or be commonplace towards the end of the 2020s. We stated that we thought it would be introduced gradually as opposed to an overnight revelation. Ironically, though, perhaps cryptos are to some extent acting as the pilot test for such an innovation. What also attracts bankers to this, as businesses that is, or governments too, is that it will reduce the need and cost to shift physical cash throughout a large geographical area, particularly one the size of the United States, and the costs inherent in that transportation and the printing of the currency and the frequently changing or updating its security protocols. All that could be saved in a cashless, digital currency environment. Now, interestingly, yesterday, the US central bank payment system was also down for a number of hours. The BBC reported this morning, quote, "The system the US central bank uses to process more than $3 trillion each day crashed on Wednesday. The Federal Reserve said the disruption was caused by an operational error. It started restoring services within hours." The Fed handled over 184 million transactions last year, from bank transfers to electronic payroll deposits. The crash adds to the pressure the bank is facing to keep up with tech disruptors. Quote, "Let's work together to ensure we have a faster, more reliable way to send payments," unquote, Senator Cynthia Loomis wrote on Twitter. The Fed said Wednesday's crash started at about 11 o'clock Eastern Time. Services started to be restored about 3 hours later, but some continued to remain dark, including its FedWire funds system. On social media, cryptocurrency advocates were quick to highlight the problems. They've been on the defensive amid warnings from regulators around the world, including US Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, a former Fed chair, who this week called Bitcoin an extremely inefficient way to conduct transactions. "The legacy financial system is horrible," Jan Pritzker, co-founder of Bitcoin buying site Swan Bitcoin, wrote on Twitter. In the Fed note on the digital currency matter, Federal Reserve Senior Counsel Jess Sheng, Payments Specialist Angela N. Lawson, and Technology Lab Manager Paul Wong said the onus would be on broadly engaging the public regarding the pros and cons of a US central bank digital currency. Privacy issues, ease of use, security access, and delivery mechanisms should all be on the table as Fed officials work to sharpen a digital dollar with the public's help, the paper said. And any consultation should likewise include as broad a cross-section of the United States population as possible. Quote, "Engaging with individuals and businesses and consulting with consumer groups, community organizations, and business associations to understand the use case for a CBDC will help in the decision whether to issue a CBDC and its potential design," unquote, the authors wrote. Think tanks and academia could also play a supporting role, they said. There were, however, preconditions on how the Fed deliberations were to proceed, and Coindesk.com summarizes them quite well, so we'll quote them rather than reinvent the wheel. Quote, "Digital dollar clarity. The Fed would need to clearly understand what a possible CBDC would be used for," the note said. The technology used would also have to support the CBDC across different conditions while providing 24/7 instant settlement, secure transfer of assets, and resilience. Feedback should be drawn from end users of various ages, geographic locations, payment habits, and financial literacy in the design and testing of a CBDC could help sharpen the basic features of a viable CBDC arrangement, the note stated. Its authors admitted a CBDC could grant the central bank unprecedented access into the financial goings-on of its users if designed to allow the most granular transaction information to shine through. This close linkage between money and data contrasts with physical banknotes, which do not carry with them transaction data that can be connected to a specific person and their history of financial dealings, the note said. Second key point, congressional oversight. Congress would have to authorize the Federal Reserve to issue a general-purpose CBDC, the note said. Fed Chairman Powell echoed this view in testimony before the House Financial Services Committee on Wednesday, telling lawmakers the Fed would need legislative authorization. Any digital dollar would be controlled as a centralized project by the Federal Reserve, though the actual nodes would be distributed, said James Kuna, a senior vice president of the Boston branch of the U.S. Central Bank. The Boston Fed has been evaluating different technology platforms, including blockchain tools, with the MIT Digital Currency Initiative to determine what platform would be best suited to supporting a digital dollar. However, support for the idea of a digital dollar, whether blockchain-based or not, seems to be growing. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said earlier this week it makes sense for central banks to consider issuing their own digital currencies. Too many Americans don't have access to easy payment systems and banking accounts, and I think this is something that a digital dollar, a central bank digital currency, could help with, she said at a New York Times conference on Monday, while also dismissing Bitcoin as being an inefficient system for payments. Unquote. End of that part of the article. So, the race is on. Will a US, and potentially a Chinese, as mentioned there already in this race, digital currency going to happen anytime soon? What will this mean for cryptocurrencies, and especially Bitcoin and Ethereum? Are their days numbered? Or will they act as the front chargers of such a financial environment? We shall report again when more news breaks. Meanwhile, just to conclude, at the time of producing this video, which is 11:15 AM GMT, we can see that gold is down $14 at $1,793, silver is up 37 cents at $28.11, and Bitcoin is up $569 at $49,556, but having breached $50,000 again earlier today. What are your thoughts? Please share, and meanwhile, if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you, and until our next video, Godspeed. We hope you have found this video interesting and informative, and if so, please give it a thumbs up and share it on social media. Please ensure that you have subscribed to our channel and press the bell sign so that you are notified of any future videos. Also, kindly visit our website at illuminatisilver.com, and if you haven't already done so, please subscribe either as a free or paying member for regular email updates and offers. Disclaimer: Illuminati Silver owners come from a background of banking, international wealth management and economics. Having now retired from these worlds, we are not qualified to give investment advice. Therefore, this and other productions must not be deemed to be giving such advice and merely represent the personal views of its owners.